My name is Dave Fitzgerald. This is my 1939 Cadillac model 1933 V-16 limousine. Let me show you. The 1939 Cadillac V-16 was a very limited production car. It's based on the Model 75, which is the limousine model or the extended wheelbase that Cadillac produced that year. Previous V16s were a longer car with greater wheelbase, but we'll talk about that soon. The Model 9033 denotes the 16-cylinder engine, that's the 90, and then the 33 is the body configuration on it. So a Model 9033 means it's a limousine with the Imperial divider. The back seat is cloth and the front seat is leather. That's part of the 9033 package. And then the divider, which you're used to seeing in limousines, is a roll-up and down unit, but it's hand cranked. All proper limousines have a leather front seat. Now, leather back then was less exclusive than cloth. The reason they had leather in the front seats of limousines and did all the way up through the factory production of limousines up until the 80s was because it was high wear. The chauffeur would have to get in and out of the car many, many times. Now, as the second generation V16s were based more on the regular Cadillacs, the cars were a lot like the V8 models. Every year, the dash would change just as the V8s did. And something that was new for Cadillac from both the V8s and the V16 models was the column shift. So prior to this year model, the shifters came out of the floor, just like most 4-speeds. So this was considered an improvement. Today, it's kind of considered the poverty transmission. So this was a Fleetwood car, and Fleetwood was their top model. Interestingly enough, the dashes on these were actually a vinyl applique, just like a wrap on a car is today. It was like the original one. It's called Dynoc. And Dynoc is still used today to put onto walls, say in restaurants and stuff. And it's very, very realistic and it looks like wood grain. So what would happen is that when these cars got restored and the Dynoc was no longer available, you had specialists that would layer different colors browns onto the dash, the metal dash, and then drag a brush through it and make it look like wood grain. This one is actually a printed wood grain, just like the original was. Now, around the outside of the windshield, because it's a Fleetwood, it has wooden moldings, real wood moldings. And on the doors and around all the windows, there is actual real wood trim, which looks like cabinet work. You can even see the Art Deco accents put into the wood. Also part of the Art Deco styling is, of course, this huge locomotive-like grille with the outline park lights and then the biplane bumper. The whole car is a huge expression of the Art Deco movement. The 9033 being a limousine, the rear compartment was sumptuous for the day. Now, of course, as I said before, it's made of cloth. There was no air conditioning in cars in 1939, at least not in Cadillacs and just about anything else where it actually worked. So this was cooler. Now, along with all of the prestige of the engine, the extended wheelbase, the outward appearance of the car, and it's a big car, but it's really no longer than a modern pickup truck. It had occasional seats, which you would use to haul extra passengers. It had a footrest. And the footrest was adjustable for people with regular legs like mine, because I'm certainly not tall, and shorter people. Now, the cord that you see along the back here, this was on many cars of the era, and they put these cords on cars all the way up through the 50s. Now, what this was not a cord for assist to get in and out. This is a robe cord. What a robe cord is it's made to hang a heavy blanket over this so that you could put it on your lap in the back seat. Back in the back, something that's really kind of cool is this. So this is a microphone. It's one way, and there's a speaker over the head of the driver. Now, for anybody who knows history or is my age or older, it's interesting. It says dictaphone on this. The dictaphone was the original recording device that you could buy for your home or your office. And executives would record notes on their dictaphone for their secretaries to type up later. This has no recording capability. It just talks to the driver. You press the button and say, "Get me a sandwich," or "pull over," or whatever. It's on a reel and it retracts into this pocket back here. Now, everybody smoked in 1939, so there's ashtrays everywhere, and this little bitty window opens for ventilation, but it only opens about 4 inches. And that's mostly for smoking. There's another assist handle right here for getting in and out of the car. And in the back package shelf, there's a curtain that you could pull up and you could put over the back window if you want to have a little more privacy. There's also individual switches for the lamp that's above my head in case you want to read or see what you're doing. The Limousines came with most of the options from the factory. However, this is one option that you had to order. This is a rear seat heater. Now, underneath the floor, literally hanging underneath the car, is a box. And the box is just bolted to the bottom of the car. There's a hole cut here. And inside of it is a heater core and a fan. And running from all the way up to the engine are heater hoses that run back here to give you rear seat heat. The back of the car is kind of imposing. It seems and feels very, very tall. The bustle back styling, which started new in 1938 and then 1939, 40, 41. It was unique. It was interesting. It had an abbreviated trunk. The segmented back window. And then again, more Art Deco styling of the taillights. So this car was virtually the same as a V8 Model 75. There was a few things that made it the V16, mainly the engine, and then of course the exterior badging. One of the interesting bits of trivia is that this emblem that you see on the hubcap, which this is a V16 hubcap, they were special, the V8 ones didn't work, was modeled after the 1932 V16 emblem. On both sides of the car, there are side mounts, and the side mounts is just a spare mount. Now, these were optional, and yeah, it's great to have 2 spare tires, but really, they were there more for looks than anything else. But they are truly functional, and I think they probably got flats a little more often back in the day than they do today with better rubber. But these were mostly there just for the styling of the car. Interestingly enough, when I put springs on this car, I had to spec the springs for the side mounts just because of the extra weight. So this car was around, of course, during World War II. It began at the end of 1941, and this is 1939. In the window is a reproduction of an old gas rationing sticker. Now, during World War II, they rationed tires, they rationed gasoline, they rationed aluminum, they rationed everything. A was the lowest class. So you had A for the everyday driver, and he could buy gas like once or twice a week. And then there was doctors and industrialists and factory workers, and they all had different classifications. So the mascot on the hood, and there were many different kind of mascots on different cars, but very famously, the Rolls-Royce had a lady, a winged lady, and that was known as the spirit of ecstasy. This one is known as the goddess of speed. And the goddess of speed also has another purpose, and that is, it's the hood latch. That's how you open the hood. Prior to 1937, Cadillacs and most cars, Duesenbergs, Bugattis, all of them, they had side plates on the engine cover that you would simply unlatch and fold up over. And you would fold one over the top of the other one, and you could take the whole hood off. Starting in 1938, the year before this car, they had engine plates, which you would remove. Also, these engine plates, being V-16 engine plates, have these wonderful strakes on them, just like on the fenders, and they are actually functional. They vent, they have holes behind them. This is a little bit scary. So the original Cadillac V16 of 1930 to 1937 was a 45-degree V, like a Harley Davidson. This is a 135-degree V. It's almost horizontally opposed. Horizontally opposed, of course, would be 180 degrees. So it sets very flat and very low, and it almost tucks underneath the firewall. Using all of the monoblock technology that they gained through building the V8, they've used in this, and there are some common parts, connecting rods, pistons, things like that, or a similar design at the very least, twin water pumps, all of that. 165-degree V16 is like two straight eights hooked together at the crankshaft. So it has two carburetors, two fuel pumps, two ignition systems, including two different coils and 8 spark plugs on each side, and it has 2 water pumps. Now, the engine is not nearly as beautiful as the original V16. However, there is some stylized elements in here which are quite handsome. You can see the chrome, which was put on just to dress it up a little bit. The enameled exhaust and intake manifolds, beautifully done. And then even some of the hose clamps are chrome plated. Now, interestingly enough, on a car like this, they had no thermostats on them. The radiator that you see here, this is just the radiator grill, but the radiator that you see here actually have slats like Venetian blinds that will open and close based upon engine temperature. So when the car is cold, as it is now, the slats are closed. And there's probably 20 of them across the front of the radiator. The V16 engine is incredibly quiet. It's very responsive. Now, it only makes 185 horsepower. However, it makes almost 500 foot-pounds of torque. So you could drop this vehicle into top gear, into third gear at about, 11 or 12 miles an hour, and torque all the way up to full speed, to maximum speed, which is about 75 miles an hour. It was almost like an automatic transmission.